It doesn't matter how stupid a scam might sound to you. I got your nose. Like, even that might have just sent someone into a panic. Doesn't matter how dumb it is, people fall for these kind of scams every single day. The most absurd, most unbelievable things that you ask yourself, who could possibly be that moronic to actually fall victim to it? Well, people do every single day. The reason why these scams exist is because they are successful. And today we're going to talk about one that just happened in my own backyard, Florida. More specifically, Bradenton, which is pretty close to Tampa. I could probably piss into the wind and have a golden shower hit this scammer here while he's mowing his lawn. Now, it's not just one scam either. This actually has quite a few layers. It's a deep onion of scams, and it's all the most unbelievable shit where you ask yourself, who could fall for it? And you're about to find out who. So the perpetrator here, the scammer, is a gentleman who looks like an unholy fusion dance between Larry the Cable Guy and Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Well, what started with a friend request turned into months of talking, and a woman in Frisco, Texas thought she'd hit the jackpot with her new friend, Elon Musk. He'd promised her a huge return for investing with him.
And as Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon reports, the person behind the keyboard was not Elon Musk, but a man from Bradenton, who police say was ripping her off.
This is actually the oldest trick in the book. I'm pretty sure this scam predates the birth of Jesus Christ. And it is a scam that a lot of elderly people fall victim to constantly, which is always sad, of course, and it's a scam that's existed for as long as communication has, with people lying to get money out of them, saying like, hey, give me money and I'll give you money in return. They pretend to be something that they're not with some kind of phony baloney nonsense. But with the internet, they've been able to like crank that shit up. They're going plus ultra on that scam, and it's been significantly more effective, which is very surprising to me, just how drastically the sentiment around online activity has changed in the older generation. Because when I was growing up, my parents and grandparents put the fear of God in me about like, don't post anything online that would be like an identifier, like don't post anything private online, don't trust anything or anyone that you meet online. Whereas nowadays, that notion is completely extinct. The older generation looks at you like you're weird if you don't have your fucking phone number posted on your Twitter account or something. Like, they're going hog wild, believing everything and everyone, ripping their shirt off, twirling it over their head like, yeah, Queef Wellington's revealing the truth. There is plutonium in the toilet paper. We have to go back to using leaves, raw leaves and poison ivy to clean ourselves. It's like, hey, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It just seems totally different, but maybe now it's just the access to information. You see more of it. Maybe this has always been happening, but man, it really does just seem like every 70-year-old is just waiting for a random Facebook friend request so they can send that stranger all of their money for no fucking reason.
For a 74-year-old woman, a friend request sent and accepted on Facebook brought on a new and seemingly powerful friendship.
She would communicate on a daily basis with him.
She believes she was talking with Elon Musk, and he told her he had a plan for her future.
A common misconception is that only old people fall for this kind of scam. Like, oh, you gotta be geriatric and senile to think that Elon Musk would contact you and say that he has a plan and that you should give him money. That's just complete fucking barnacles right there. Only, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe even less, and it still goes on today, there was that massive YouTube scam stream that got started up with a looped Elon Musk video that had a link to a Bitcoin wallet that was asking everyone watching the stream to send Bitcoin to that wallet and he would double it. And so many people fell victim to that. And you know 74-year-olds aren't using Bitcoin 2-3 years ago. So the main people that were victims to that were younger people. And that scam, the Elon Musk doubling crypto scam, still goes on to this day to wild degrees of success. You see the streams all over YouTube right now too. I guarantee you can probably find 5 of those bitches live at this moment, and there are people falling for them every single day, not just old people. So this scam of, I'm Elon Musk and I need money so that way you can make money, I'm here for you, doesn't just work on a 74-year-old woman.
You give us $500,000, I can make you $55 million.
She jumped at the opportunity.
Without her husband's knowledge, she started investing with Elon Musk.
It's kind of heartbreaking to see how trusting people are in a situation like this, where this 74-year-old woman receives a friend request from someone she believes is Elon Musk, and she thinks he's there to try and help her. He just needs a little bit of cash for that. He just needs, you know, a few tiddlywinks of doubloons. Maybe $500,000, $500,000. Those wacky little numbers on the back of the credit card. That's all Elon needs in order for her to get fucking $55 million return. And she believes it. Somehow she knows who Elon Musk is, knows that he's worth billions of dollars, wealthiest man in the world, and she thinks that, oh, this is actually Elon reaching out on a random fucking Tuesday through Facebook to a random 74-year-old woman that he's never met. Like, I bet she was so excited, she probably went and put some cookies in the oven for him, baked him a fucking pie or something to thank him.
But Detective Jim Carula with the Bradenton Police Department's Elder Fraud Unit says the woman transferred $250,000 to bank accounts not belonging to Elon Musk, but to this man.
Grant that to me.
An imposter, according to police, 56-year-old Jeffrey Moynihan Jr. of Bradenton.
This guy looks like the bad guy in every 90s Christmas film. Like, he looks like that business guy that's like, bah humbug, there is no Santa Claus. Like, he just has like this distinct look about him where it's like evolution knew he was going to be a scammer piece of shit, so it like molded his whole being into that caricature. It's shocking just how closely he imagines what I picture in my head every scammer to look like.
We have an arrest warrant for your arrest.
Detective Carula says the woman's husband says she gave Elon Musk, aka Moynihan, $600,000. He's continuing to track down where the other money went.
What and who you see is not who's typing back at you. And I think these people, you have to realize that.
Which should be a pretty obvious lesson that's becoming more and more rare for people to have learned. And I can't believe it's something you even need to learn. It should just be something you know. Anybody can make a Facebook account with a profile pic of Elon Musk. There's probably a billion of those fucking things floating around right now. You can see them all over Twitter too. But just because it reaches out to you and it has the name Elon Musk, it doesn't mean that it is. There are 1,000 things you can do to avoid getting scammed like this, yet so many people just don't do it because they are either in a desperate situation or they hear something that just sounds like this is life-changing. I need to at least try. So then they fall victim to a scam like this. And in this case, she was so trusting, and what Elon Musk was saying was so good that she went behind her husband's back and sent 600,000 clams to a random Facebook account.
But here's where things take a turn. It appears Moynihan may have been the target of a romance scam as well.
Mr. Moynihan stating that his girlfriend is the mastermind behind it and that he had no involvement. He is stating he's never actually even met his girlfriend.
Bang! I bet you didn't expect that. So the scammer who was pulling off the impersonation Elon Musk doubling money RuneScape scam is actually, potentially, the victim of a romance scam himself. He is the victim of the same scam he is doing to the 74-year-old woman without recognizing that. I think is the angle he's trying to play with that. I'm a little confused with the way that it's stated here because I think what's also possible is that Jeffrey is claiming that his girlfriend is the one that did this to the 74-year-old woman and he was totally hands-off. It must have been her, yet it was his bank account that got all of the money. So that doesn't really make sense unless he was the victim of a romance scam here, gave her his bank account info, and then she used it on the 74-year-old woman and he didn't know anything about it, and now he's bringing it up here. Or the way that I initially interpreted it is that he has this mysterious girlfriend, this supermodel, superstar, 3-breast mega milkers that he hasn't met before, but she wanted him to talk to the 74-year-old woman as if he was Elon Musk to get money from her. So like that's the way I initially interpreted it, that he is right now talking to this imaginary girlfriend that is telling him to do this. So he's saying, like, I'm kind of blameless. It was my girlfriend who was making me do it. That's the way that it initially came across to me. Mind-boggling. Romance scams are becoming increasingly common as well, where somebody pretends to be, this hot, big-tittied goth chick that wants your meat, but she can't quite get out to you because she's in, like, a bad financial spot. So you got to be sending her money so that way she can eventually come be with you, be your wife, because she loves you. Like, it's love. And what, are you going to deny love? I don't think so. So this douchebag, this stupid asshole is like, okay, well, my girlfriend is telling me that if I don't have the money to pay her, maybe I should try getting it by pretending to be someone I'm not to get money from this lady. And he doesn't connect the dots in his rotted noodle that he is also right now being scammed. It's a beautiful disaster. Now, I do think the most likely explanation is that this guy is desperately making this up, just pulling it out of his ass. Like, oh, no, that couldn't have been me. It must have been my girlfriend. Yeah, my girlfriend, super hot. You wouldn't know her. She goes to a different college. But yeah, she must have, logged on to my account and used all my bank account information in order to receive money from the 74-year-old woman that she was scamming, pretending to be Elon Musk on all of my accounts. That's likely what it was. So he could just be doing this to try and like lessen his sentence by saying like, oh no, it wasn't me, it was this person, and I don't know who that person is, but it's definitely not me, it's my girlfriend. Don't know her, never met her, but it's her. Like, you might as well just blame it on like fucking Sasquatch at that point.
As BPD continues their investigation, neighbors of Moynihan remain in disbelief.
It's shocking. It's just surprising.
In Bradenton, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
I decided to leave that little scene in there where they talk to the neighbors because I always find that to just be like pretty useless most of the time, where the news will just like knock on neighbors' doors and be like, hey, what do you think about your neighbor getting arrested? 9 times out of 10 they're like, oh wow, that's crazy. And in this case, the guy's just like, shocking. Like, it's not like they're going to have a deep insight on that. Like, what's this guy going to do? But like, oh no, actually, this doesn't surprise me even a little bit. This doesn't even have me raise an eyebrow, because actually one time, Jeffrey came over knocking on my door with a voice changer, pretending to be Marilyn Monroe. So, like, I always knew he was capable of impersonating someone. It was just a matter of time before he found a sucker to give him money. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, why even leave that part in? Like, here's what the neighbors had to say. Whoa. All right, anyway, back to you.
Grand theft of what?
Was that?
Grand theft of what?
I'm not the one that wrote the warrant. When the detective comes out here, he'll explain it for you.
Just wanted to show you a wee bit more of the body cam footage here, where he plays dumb. I mean, he is dumb, but like where he pretends he doesn't know why they'd be there. And he doesn't have a shirt on, which had me giggling a little bit because this man got interrupted like 15 beers deep by this and didn't even get the chance to put a shirt on in time, so he's just walking around with cold hard nipples in the police station. And anyway, hopefully the victim gets her money back from this. Hopefully they're able to track all that down and give her money back. That's really about it. So yeah. Yeah, I'm just pretty fucking mad and wanted to vent. Florida is America's asshole. It fucking sucks here. I have left my house 3 times in the last 4 months thinking that by doing this very simple act that an actual fucking baby could accomplish with minimal whining, that the coronavirus cases would start to slow down, kind of like they have everywhere else in the world. But Florida is full of so many brainwashed, vapid, revolting, idiotic ghouls that it's not only increasing every day, but setting new records every fucking day for the coronavirus here in Florida. We just hit a new record of 15,000 new cases a few days ago. We've been getting more than 10,000 cases a day for quite a while now. Today's actually been an extremely good day. Florida's on the turnaround right now. We're making big moves. Today we only had 9,000 new cases clocked, but we also had a record number of deaths for a single day. So you win some, you lose some. It's a give or take, and hey, we'll fucking take those. We can't stop copping dubskis down here in Florida. Bunch of fucking dumbass ghouls here. And cracked out, methed out fucking idiots in this state that read Facebook and then translate these goddamn stupid memes that someone started that's probably locked in a shit-stained basement and for some reason believe that reptilians are controlling viruses, and now they take it and transfer it to the real world and it actively hurts everyone around. It is such a fucking upsetting circumstance in this godforsaken state, if you can even call it a state. I don't think Florida's a state. This is a goddamn laboratory. And what we manufacture here is coronavirus. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, when's coronavirus going to end? Can't wait for coronavirus to be over. Fuck you. I promise you, for as long as Florida exists, coronavirus will not only exist, but will absolutely thrive. We are a coronavirus farm. More than that, we're a coronavirus fucking personal trainer. We're teaching coronavirus how to become better and more effective by just being really fucking stupid. But you know, it's not all bad. To be fair, there's actually a lot of good news in Florida. We just reopened Disney World, so you know, the world of dreams, baby. The Magic Kingdom is in full effect again, baby. So come on down. There's never been a better time to visit Disney World during a pandemic. My dog probably understands more about coronavirus than these fucking stupid people that are out on the streets protesting it and shit. And speaking of anti-mask protesting, let's go ahead and take a look at one that happened yesterday. Let's see what kind of high IQ intellectuals we're dealing with at these protests. So one brave hero opened a grilled cheese restaurant and said, "We don't care about masks, you don't need them here." So the police came in because masks are kind of a big deal and said, "Hey, you need masks." And that's when all hell broke loose. Jesus Christ, blood, tits, and cum was flying everywhere in the restaurant. Children are being snapped in half, taken over their knee, and just busted right in two as the people were shouting, stand down, fighting against tyranny." Something you'd read about in the Bible. Good versus evil, mask versus no mask, the clash of the titans. The abominable anti-mask troglodytes in one unified voice said, "We wanted grilled cheese, and we didn't want to put something over our face. God damn it, it is our right as Americans to not wear a mask in a grilled cheese restaurant."
It's wrong what you're doing. It's wrong, America. This is America. This is America. You're not a communist state. This is not communist China.
Now, I'd be a fool to think any of these anti-maskers are literate, so I don't expect any of them have ever read a history textbook, but I find it almost humorous how identical this is to McCarthyism. If those of you that don't know, McCarthyism was pretty much a point in American history where a man named McCarthy would accuse people he didn't like of being a communist, and people are doing that exact same thing with people they don't like that are wearing a mask, or just in general things they don't like. "I don't want to do this, that means it's communism." Oh my goodness, what is that over your face? Is that cloth? How can you breathe? You're suffocating yourself, you communist. "No, I won't wear a mask, you communist." Guarantee half these people can't spell communism. But I do actually find it interesting how history repeats itself. I know growing up you'd always get told, "Oh, we have to study history so it doesn't repeat itself," but I always thought that was a load of dog shit because I mean, it didn't make sense to me. Why would history repeat itself? But now I see I was just outright wrong, and it does actually seem to repeat itself, which is pretty fucking wild.
You want to call me selfish for not wearing a mask? I want to say to you, all the people calling me selfish, you're the one who's trying to force me a medical procedure so you can feel more safe.
Chris, I don't only want to call you selfish, I'd also like to call you a homunculus. I think if pathetic was a person, it'd look a lot like you, Chris. Out here striking like an Uncle Sam pose here, calling putting a mask on your face a medical procedure. Yeah, you're not only selfish, Chris, you're also very dumb.
Second that. Listen to this. Stay in your house.
You have a right to stay in your house. You have every right to wear a mask if you want. Don't shove it on me.
Shut that window. Shut that window.
You have every right to stay in that house.
You have a right to stay in your house.
Stay in your house, Karen.
Shut the window, honey.
The lack of self-awareness is actually remarkable, calling her a Karen when he's out here dressed like one of those overly handsy middle school gym teachers that eventually gets busted for being inappropriate with the students, and making this huge hoopla about taking 1 second out of your morning routine to put on a mask before going to stuff your fucking face with 3,000 calories at a greasy grilled cheese restaurant. Yeah, she's the Karen, Chris.
We're up against.
This is a person in her own home. She's allowed to stay in her home. Nobody is coming into her home telling her, "Be quiet, honey, you're in your home."
Hi, Chris and Tara. You're not actually up against people. You're up against a virus. You see, this fucking misinformation is turning people on each other. Mask versus no mask people, as opposed to the actual issue at hand being the virus. These people like to believe that they're not perpetual failures, but in reality they are, and they're also sheep. They hate sheep, but they themselves are actual, real sheep. They blindly follow mysterious posts on Facebook that somehow always find a way to draw a divide between people. I'm not one to subscribe to many conspiracy theories, but I firmly do believe that there is an outside force manipulating these really gullible idiots like this into transferring the actual issue from a virus to other people. So that way, if you have them distracted and don't give a fuck about the virus, just have them attacking other people, you can just cause a lot more chaos that way. And I really feel like that's the goal with a lot of the shit on Facebook. I really do think Facebook in and of itself is just an actual virus as well. It should be labeled a pandemic too. It is a truly festering, disease-ridden cesspool.
Shut the window, dear.
There's a few more clips from this anti-mask rally, but it's just more of the same diarrhea drivel from someone else's mouth. I think what's even the saddest part about this is more and more people across the world keep laughing at Florida and the people in Florida, and that only cements their belief that they're right even more. It's such a weird circumstance where the more they get mocked, insulted, laughed at, berated, belittled, it makes them more powerful and cements their beliefs even further, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Who likes to get ridiculed? Why? It's weird. It's like people in Florida have a humiliation fetish. Like maybe they're putting something in the water to turn everyone here into some kind of like humiliation craving cuck. I don't really know, but it's genuinely fucking baffling how people can be so content to just get constantly made fun of in every corner of the world. Nobody respects Florida right now, and for very good and very obvious reasons. But those reasons and that actual just laughing at and mocking is making them believe it even more. It's crazy and sad and fucking frustrating, and it's all that's been on my mind for like the last week, so I just wanted to get it all out of my system here and vent about it. That's about it. So yeah. To many people, Florida is an incomprehensible wasteland, almost like something out of a fantasy novel, like Narnia, if Narnia was infested with drugs and human trafficking. But for me, I call Florida home. I've lived in this utopia for all 28 years of my life, and I've got to tell you, I swear with my hand on a stack of Bibles, there's nowhere else I'd rather live, being completely truthful. Born and raised from the womb to the tomb in Florida. Well, I guess not womb to tomb, because I'm pretty sure Florida's going to be underwater within the next 20 years, but hey, we're on a tight schedule, I guess. We're on the clock now, and that only makes the time we have with Florida even more special. What's that expression? The star that burns brightest burns out fastest? That is very applicable to Florida. It is a shining star of a state. That little hemorrhoid on the USA? That's right. That's Florida, baby. So anyway, I was feeling awfully patriotic today, and I wanted to celebrate some Florida enthusiasm by talking about a few stories that I've just been thinking about a lot over the last couple days since I learned about them because they're so wacky. Florida has a reputation for producing the most outrageous headlines ever, which is why Florida Man has been like a coined phrase for quite a few years now. Florida Man is just always referring to the crazy stories that could only really happen in Florida. And there's just some that I've really been thinking about that have happened recently. The first story is almost wholesome in its stupidity. So a man stole an electric scooter from Target and then assembled it outside the Target he had stole it at. So he was out there assembling this electric scooter for quite a long time, which gave the police ample opportunity to show up and arrest him.
What's going on, man? What's up? Do me a favor, stand up. Huh? Stand up. I'm gonna detain you for a second. Come here. Put it down. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Neutron's already been hard at work assembling this device. You can see the electric scooter box right next to him, so he's taking it out, he's following the instructions and putting it together. And usually these aren't exactly quick projects, so the authorities would have had plenty of time to not only receive the call from Target, but to then go ahead and stop for lunch if they wanted to, and then still show up in time to arrest this guy. He was out there for quite a while building the scooter, so the police showed up and probably were beyond surprised to see that he was still there. This was probably like a jump scare for them as well, that this guy who had stolen his scooter like 30 minutes ago was just outside putting it together.
You know why I'm detaining you? No, sir. No? Okay. Once I get these on you, I'll explain it to you. We'll get it all figured out, alright? Alright.
A confounding mystery, no doubt. Why would this good Samaritan just casually putting together the electric scooter he just stole possibly be getting arrested or detained here? Something that science can't quite explain, I suppose. I just really like this whole idea here. He steals the scooter and he's like, alright, great. Oh man, I can't ride this. It's in the box. Well, Guess I'm gonna have to put this shit together like it's some fucking Legos. And he just does it outside the Target he stole it at. He could have taken that anywhere else. Literally anywhere else. He could have taken it to like a nearby park or even just on a sidewalk somewhere and started putting it together. But instead, he puts it together at the danger zone, the hot spot where he had just committed a crime.
Did you buy this scooter? You don't want to answer that question?
Caught him with his hand in the cookie jar with that question. He asks if he bought the scooter, to which he receives no reply. So then the reality starts to sink in for this guy. I'll go ahead and break down the story here, though it's not super interesting, very generic. Target employees saw him grab the Razor electric scooter, so then they just called the police on him, who then showed up and arrested him because he was outside fucking building the thing. What I really love so much about this one is the fact that this is actual, like, Skyrim NPC behavior. So this guy committed a crime. He takes the scooter, he steals it, and then the second he leaves the store, he must have forgot how he acquired that scooter and thought it was totally okay to just go ahead and start putting it together there. That item he just stole. The next story I want to share with you all is actually a really interesting crime plot. This one's got a lot of layers to it. This one's like almost a huge scheme. It's a $1 million plus milk theft. This is actually like a whole crime group, like the fucking Milk Mafia. They got together and hatched the perfect crime, like Ocean's 11. They decided they were going to steal a fucking ton of milk. A lot of dairy products. It actually goes pretty deep. So the 6 suspects were employees of Island Dairy, a milk distributor that worked with MacArthur Dairy, a milk and dairy products company, and they were arrested as a result of an investigation dubbed Operation Got Milk. This is already a lot to take in. So you've got a lot of players at play on the chessboard here, a lot of pieces in position. When I first saw the headline, I expected it to be like 1 or 2 Florida men that thought they could steal a lot of milk and sell it. So they stole $1 million worth of milk, and I was like, holy shit, they just made $1 million. It took me a minute to register in my fucking smooth little brain here that who in the world, who on God's green earth is going to be buying $1 million worth of milk? That's not exactly a product that you could turn around and immediately get your money out of. You'd be squatting on a massive, massive fucking inventory of dairy for years before you even remotely started to be able to sell some of it. I don't think there's like a booming black market for milk, so it's not like you're just going to immediately be able to turn it around and sell it on the fucking Grand Exchange like it's RuneScape or something. And I've got to be honest, I'll admit my ignorance here. I don't know if Big Dairy buys from random people, right? So if you have $1 million worth of milk that you have stolen from these trucks, how are you going to try and sell it to a different distributor or a different company? I just don't think they'd be buying your, you know, trunk of milk, right? You pull up behind an alley and you're like, all right, I've got the fucking product here, and they give you money for the milk. I don't think a huge market to be able to immediately turn these products into money in their hands. News stations reported that suspects were delivery drivers and dispatchers for Island Dairy. Since 2021, the suspects systematically pilfered more than $925,000 worth of milk from MacArthur Dairy, along with around $350,000 worth of crates. So obviously we're dealing with a lot of milk here. This is more than a Morton Joe was able to harvest in Mad Max Fury Road. The men would allegedly manipulate the ordering system, causing extra dairy products to be loaded onto the distribution delivery trucks. Police said that the delivery drivers would deviate from their pre-assigned routes, meet with another individual, and transfer the extra dairy products to their delivery truck. So they even reveal the method here. They're just giving away the formula that they used. One suspect allegedly sold each stolen milk carton for $10. Let's pump the brakes for a moment. Who the fuck is buying that? Not only is the price not great, but it's also extremely sketchy just to be buying a carton of milk from a stranger. Who would do that? That shit could be poison. It could be just fucking liquid cyanide in there. Like, what? Why would you do that instead of just going to Walmart and getting a carton of milk for like much less than that usually? It just doesn't compute. Who would treat this guy like he's their drug dealer, like their plug? Like, you know, passing out free milk cartons like, hey, come here. I've got some milk cartons in the trunk of my car. First one's free. But if you ever need your fix, you can meet me by the CVS dumpster. I got plenty more milk cartons where that came from. Like, I just can't even imagine that world. That's so wild. This was an organized crime, basically, where they are working in unison to steal products from a company, and obviously the person receiving those products was selling stolen goods. Officials told WTVJ that Island Dairy conducted an internal investigation that uncovered the irregularities and identified the potential suspects. Police were then contacted and began surveillance on the suspects. Hours later, investigators said they captured the transfer of stolen dairy products on video. So they got him. They got him. This is actually a pretty sizable theft here. $1 million plus worth of milk is fucking crazy. So yeah, I definitely wanted to share that one because, wow, what a plan to steal and sell milk, of all things. Anyway, these were just two stories I had read recently and watched, I suppose, since there's videos of both, that have really just stuck with me. I keep thinking about them because they're so goofy. So I just wanted to share that. That's really about it. So yeah. There's a lot you can say about Florida, but one criticism you'll never hear about this state is that the people are boring. Florida men never disappoint. Period. I don't care who you are or where you are in the world, you know about the beautiful creatures known as Florida men. And today I want to talk to you about a brave explorer. His name is Reza Bellucci. Now, you might know of him more recently because 2 days ago he was arrested after trying to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a hamster wheel floating ball, basically. But what you may not know is that he has attempted very similar feats numerous times in the past. In fact, he even has an entire Vice documentary made about him and his ideas. Rather, idea is the wrong word. It's a passion, a calling, nay, his destiny, to, for some reason, walk across water a long distance in a bubble. In the Vice documentary, they cover one of his attempts to go 1,000 miles from Miami to Bermuda in basically the bubble boy thing from the old Jake Gyllenhaal movie. There's even this really cool shot here where it looks like an AC-130 mission from Modern Warfare. This shit looks like some aerial phenomenon, like a UFO that would have just been declassified by the government. He always gets stopped by authorities trying to save his life from just ending up lost adrift at sea endlessly and dying of starvation and dehydration. But he just keeps coming back. In one of the attempts here, one of the people interviewed mentions that Mr. Bellucci stopped to ask another boat for directions on how to get to Bermuda. So he's not exactly a sailor or anything. He doesn't know where he's going when he gets out on the water. He just knows he needs to get out on the water, and from there, Jesus will take the hamster wheel and guide him where he needs to go, I suppose. Because he doesn't have any way of navigating it, I guess. So there's no doubt if he wasn't stopped by authorities every single time, he probably would have ended up dead by now. In fact, I would say that with 100% confidence, he would have not survived this. Because he just gets into a fucking inflatable hamster wheel and starts running, hoping that he gets to the destination he has in mind. Now, what's really interesting is he actually seems like a really wholesome, nice guy. He is a very talented runner, actually. He is very good at like running marathons. He does a lot and has done a lot for a long time in that scene. And he always runs with a purpose. Usually it's charitable. He likes to run to raise money to help the community around him and help others. And even when doing these missions, the goal is raising money for charitable causes. I still am a little unsure exactly how, considering he just starts running out into the open sea, and there's really no way of knowing exactly what's going on. And his wife in the documentary even says how scared she always is anytime he starts doing this, because she doesn't know if she's ever going to see him again, because he just gets pushed out there and she just has to throw her hands up and say, all right, I hope I see you again. And in the documentary, they even say, you know, like how dangerous it is, like what about a hurricane? And Mr. Bellucci's response was, if there's a hurricane, I'll just go wherever it takes me. So it's just, like, he seems like a really good guy who's become obsessed with the most dangerous idea ever. Just running in open water. forever, basically. It's important to mention he does have GPS with him. He doesn't just go out there raw. Like, he has supplies, he has a lot of equipment that he goes out with, but it's not exactly the most effective means of navigating the sea. There are a ton of other factors at play, and having GPS is helpful, of course, but it's not going to solve every problem. Far from it, actually. And it's really sad watching the documentary because in one of his more recent trips, the Bermuda one, the authorities after 5 days did come into the equation and they ended up sinking his bubble with all of his material in it, I believe. So he had like a laptop to watch movies apparently and just a ton of stuff and a ton of money he put into the bubble. They said it was like $120,000 of his own money. But they really didn't do it out of like being evil assholes or malicious or anything. It did save his life, and it's something he himself recognized. He said, I don't need you to save my life. He doesn't want that. He wants to do this mission, no matter the cost, I guess. I don't know, the whole thing is just really kind of sad, and he keeps doing it. So I don't want to get like too focused on like his previous missions. The reason we're talking about him today is because he just went on another mission that, once again, ended with an arrest. You see about the Florida man who got arrested for trying to run from Florida to London in a giant hamster wheel today? Yeah, and that's what it just goes to show you what's wrong with this country. You can't even just go on your own little adventures anymore without Big Brother stepping in and telling you no. Like, whatever happened to freedom? Can't take my giant inflatable hamster wheel and cross the Atlantic? Freedom ain't free anymore. These poor patriots. These Florida intellectuals, they couldn't complete their task. Literally 1984, yeah. Ridiculous. They saved his ass from a burial at sea. They saved him from a grand adventure, is what they did. Florida man was arrested after trying to run to London across the Atlantic Ocean in a homemade vessel resembling a hamster wheel. Officials said the 44-year-old marathon runner refused to leave the vessel for 3 days. Whoa, wait, what? How much food did he pack? 3 days he spent in there? That's like Jack Sparrow on the island in the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Mr. Bellucci has tried 3 similar voyages before, all of which ended in Coast Guard intervention. This man is determined. Just let him go! He's got it figured out. He'll be fine. Plus, let's think about it this way. Let's say he does go out there and, you know, maybe things get a little hectic. Maybe a hurricane starts to form. Luckily, he's got the hamster wheel and all the fins on it. He can start running in the opposite direction of the hurricane and dissipate it. He could do us a huge favor. This guy could be a legitimate hero to us. We got hurricanes forming every goddamn day now. Born in the wrong time. True. The makeshift contraption he was using is shaped like a wheel with paddles. They're designed to propel it forward. Based on the condition of the vessel, which was afloat as a result of wiring and buoys, officers determined Bellucci was conducting a manifestly unsafe voyage. Officials said he refused to step off the vessel and threatened to kill himself. Jesus Christ. He also claimed that he had a bomb on board. What the fuck? Was he going to London to blow it up? Like, why would he have a bomb on board? Jesus Christ. On September 1st, he eventually surrendered and abandoned his vessel after being brought to the Coast Guard base in Miami. He is now facing federal charges of obstruction of a boarding and violation of a captain of the port order. That is a very cool sounding charge. It is unclear whether he obtained a lawyer to represent him in this criminal case. This was not Mr. Bellucci's first arrest for taking to the ocean in his vessel, which he calls the Bubble. In 2021, he was arrested after being rescued while trying to ride from Florida to New York after drifting 30 miles south of his departure point. In 2014, he had to be rescued from a similar contraption near St. Augustine. And then 2 years later, he again had to be rescued off the coast of Jupiter near Palm Beach. He's just a fan of the sea. He's no different than Luffy, but instead of a pirate ship, he's got a giant fucking hamster ball. The sea calls to him. It beckons. According to previous interviews, Mr. Bellucci said he was attempting voyages to raise money for a variety of causes, including for the homeless and the Coast Guard. How? Where's the money? Where's the money coming from? Does he have like a tip jar on board? I don't know how he'd be raising money. He's raising money for his previous rescue bills. The Atlanteans speak through this man. He's compelled to wheel across the 7 seas. That's what I'm thinking. You can't stop him. He'll do it again. This is his 3rd time. He'll be back next year. You see that Florida man that got arrested for telling a playground of kids where babies come from? Oh, that is a classic. Yeah, this was a great one. This is classic Florida man shit. Florida man arrested after telling kids where babies come from. And the mugshot here looks so good. So basically what happened is he climbed on top of some playground shit and he just started shouting. And eventually said where babies come from. Not all heroes wear capes. Yeah, I mean, he's educating, honestly. And to be honest, this is better than some Florida schools when it comes to education. He probably could have done it in some more scientific terms instead of yelling about pussy and all that, but whatever. As time goes on, I find myself believing more and more in the conspiracy theory that Florida was created as an experiment by the devil to house the dumbest people humanity had to offer. Maybe as a joke, maybe just as a science experiment, I couldn't really tell you. But coronavirus has really shown me just how fucking dumb this state is. We're getting upwards of 10,000 new cases a day, still climbing, and we're still hitting those fucking beaches, baby. The people that make up the population of Florida don't even feel like sentient human beings anymore. They feel like the product of a mad science experiment where somebody fucking Frankensteined the brain of a gopher into the body of a sunburnt drug addict. And much like the gopher, they're afraid of their own shadow, if that shadow was common sense. But luckily there's one superhero among us, one Florida man in particular that's become so powerful that he was able to scare away death itself this weekend.
And it was quite a scare. Lawyer Daniel Ohlfelder dressed as the Grim Reaper in an attempt to alert Floridians of the dangers of reopening the economy too soon. He believes opening the state's beaches right now is a mistake and will endanger lives as the community continues to battle COVID-19.
You know your state is fucked when you're actually rooting for the Grim Reaper here. So this guy cosplaying as the Grim Reaper had enough sense to recognize that immediately reopening the beaches as a way of celebrating coronavirus or whatever the fuck we opened them for is just a stupid idea and dangerous. So he dresses as the Grim Reaper as just a way to peaceful protest, and he's self-aware, he knows it's goofy, he's just having fun with his protest and letting people know the danger of it. And he's been doing this for a little while, but unfortunately he did this on the 4th of July and came toe-to-toe with the Thanos of Florida men.
Biden and Hunter went over to China.
Well, let me get this straight. Okay, Hunter Biden,
they brought it back.
After we went to...
This is what, you know, this is weaponized.
So Alex Jones here is hitting the Grim Reaper with some fucking facts right now, talking about weaponized coronavirus created by the reptilians and Joe Biden and his son, going into interdimensional time-traveling pedophile vampires from the 11th realm, shit like that. You know, pretty standard Florida logic for the most part, and they get to engage in a little back and forth, so that way the Grim Reaper can get educated.
So Hunter Biden and Joe Biden went to China, and did they create the virus, or did they?
No, they didn't create it.
What did they do?
They brought it back here.
Oh, so they put it in like a tube and brought it back, or?
No, not in a tube.
Okay, how did they do it? They got it themselves and then injected it in somebody?
No.
I can literally smell the Miller Lite on this guy. He loves his Miller Lite so much that his body shape is starting to transform itself to resemble Miller Lite. If this guy gave blood, the recipient would feel their IQ drop by 50 points and they'd develop a crippling addiction to conspiracy theories.
Okay, so Hunter Biden, then Joe...
This is the Democratic Party trying to overthrow Donald Trump.
Okay, where did you learn that?
Just by being alive. I'm 63 years old.
Okay, I do a safe distance.
Okay,
well, you can't argue with that. I mean, the science checks out. He learned it because he's alive. So, I mean, that's enough for me. I don't even need to take that with a grain of salt. I mean, he's 63 years old. You heard him. At 63 years old, he understands everything. So, that at least gives me some solace knowing he at least knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, social distance.
Wait.
No, I'm just doing 6 feet. No, I'm not scared of you, but...
There's no way in hell I want to fly on you. Okay?
No way you're going to what?
There's no way in hell I want to fly on you.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to keep safe. So, all right, well, cool. That's a new one. Yeah, I've heard...
Totally... Let's leave this way.
I actually don't really know what he said. There's no way I want to fly on you. I don't know if that's his attempt at flirting or not that he learned on AOL. I'm not positive, but it made the conversation a little weird where even the Grim Reaper felt uncomfortable and then he just kind of brushed it off and then they settled the score right there. Or at least that's what you think, but this guy is relentless. He says, you know what, I can smell the fear in the Grim Reaper, and he fucking pounces on it. He chases him down.
Please, this guy. I would ask that you please stay 6 feet from me.
Stay away from this Ray Baton motherfucker.
Stay
away from him. Stay away from him.
Again, a little confused on what he's saying right here. Stay away from this Rayman motherfucker. I don't know if he's talking about like the Rayman Nintendo 64 games or what. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is getting serious because now he's brought out his finger and he's pointing at him right now. He's got that old Karen, where's your manager finger, waving his finger around like a magic wand. So you know things have now been escalated.
This is a race baiter. This is a fucking race
At this point, you just stay away, okay? Or I'm going to call the police. I will call the police.
Go ahead.
I like to get...
Go ahead down now. Go ahead down now.
You're publicly intoxicated, that's clear.
This man is so unbelievably powerful that he's able to scare the Grim Reaper enough to threaten the police. That is impressive. And then you also have the beach's security guard here. I'm not quite sure, but he's dressed like he means business. This looks like a secret agent on his day off here. And he's trying to get in the middle of it and stop it, but even he's no match for the all-powerful old drunk Willie.
Public intoxication is a crime. It's a felony, so... You're publicly intoxicated and you're...
Stay away from this way, bait, motherfucker. Right here. Stay away from him. Stay away from him.
I can really appreciate that he actually has both of his fingers pointing just in case he needed a dual-wield pointer fingers at this man right here. He's got both fingers locked and loaded, and I can appreciate that. He's only using one right now, but he has the looming threat of his other finger, which is pointed at the ground right now, showing a little bit of mercy. But if things pop off, I have no doubt he's going to be real quick to draw on that pointer finger and have both of them pointing at the Grim Reaper, and then what? Then what are you going to do? There's no counterplay, there's no defense against that.
Stay away! You ain't shit!
This is all I could find from this interaction between these two, and as you could see, the Grim Reaper was thoroughly overwhelmed by the power of the Florida man, and a being so unbelievably powerful that not even death itself could stop him in his rampage. I think this is probably the most Florida clip that has ever existed. I didn't need to tell you this is from Florida. You would immediately guess that this happened in Florida. This is just something that's so specific to Florida. Like, this is basically its entire legacy. Like, this is basically what you think of when you think of Florida. And how wonderful is that? That's about it. See ya. I've lived in Florida my whole life. Don't feel bad, save your tears and sympathy for someone else, because I don't fucking need them. Living in this wasteland has made me a stronger man. It's taught me discipline, taught me to say no to bath salts, taught me to run away from old men at the beach. Invaluable life lessons that you can't learn anywhere else. And over the last decade or so, people have really been making fun of Florida, if you can even believe that. Mainly for their crazy headlines like, Florida man sticks bottle rockets up his asshole at the zoo, hops the fence at the alligator exhibit, charges alligators with bottle rockets flying out of his colon, spectators traumatized. And, you know, this whole Florida man epidemic. And I thought, well, I've lived here for so long, I think I'm the only one qualified enough to rank these Florida men stories. So today is going to be a nice little Florida man tier list, so let's just go ahead and get right into this here. The first story here is just a classic Florida fairy tale. Man strips naked at a Chick-fil-A and chases strangers around, screaming for them to look at his penis. When officers arrive at the scene, he demands the officers look at his penis and his ass. Hitting the officers with the wombo combo. In the body cam footage, you can hear him say, "Look at my ass, how do you feel?" Reminds me of something a therapist would say when they hold up the ink blots and then say, hey, are you getting an emotional response? You know, these Rorschachs, are they making you feel something? So perhaps it wouldn't be too big of a leap to say that maybe this man was just trying to look out for the mental health of everyone at the Chick-fil-A by proudly parading his cock balls and ass around. Now, overall, this story isn't special. This is happening at every Chick-fil-A on a weekly basis in Florida. I can't even remember the last time I dined at a Chick-fil-A without a floppy penis in front of my face. I just thought it'd be good to ease us on into this with a common occurrence story like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at a D tier rating here just because it is very bland. It's like the vanilla ice cream of Florida man stories. Now this next story is one I'm sure we're all familiar with by now, and it revolves around bath salts. The story that put bath salts on the map. In 2012 in Miami, a homeless man was eating the face off of another homeless man due to being under the influence of bath salts. Everyone speculated this could be the first outbreak of a zombie apocalypse or something. The doomsday where zombies befall all of us and eat all of our fucking faces off. This was massive. This was like the new boogeyman. You know, parents would tell their kids, eat those vegetables or a bath salt addict is going to bust through the window and eat your face off. It was terrifying, but I think it's very important that we put this on the tier list to highlight the dangers of bath salts as well as just remember how close we were to some type of Resident Evil future with bath salts and cannibalism. So this is going at a B ranking, and it really was absolutely horrible, but this story was so massive that it's impossible to ignore when talking about Florida. It's something that Florida's become known for with its bath salts and then this cannibalism incident, because it happened a couple times if I remember correctly, but I just wanted to talk about the most famous one here. And since we're already talking about zombies and eating faces off, let's talk about State of Survival. If you want to be prepared for the zombie apocalypse, you can try State of Survival.
The most fun way of preparing for apocalypse is through State of Survival, the zombie-themed survival strategy mobile game that immerses you in a post-apocalyptic world where you need to learn how to survive. This game has everything: an interesting storyline with virus leakage, battle, conspiracy, even more virus leakage, rebellion, and even an evil company called Gigacorp, those responsible for the zombie outbreak currently plaguing us. In order to defeat Gigacorp, you must develop your settlements and push back the infernal undead. Enlist the help of your closest and most trusted friends by creating alliances to compete in both action-packed PvE and PvP battles with stunning graphics and tower defense gameplay. Just between you and me, there are also a lot of crazy hidden secrets to be found behind the scenes. This free-to-play game is full of fun in-game events with exciting resource rewards. By playing State of Survival, you will learn all the necessary skills to survive in the apocalypse. Do you have what it takes to fight against an overwhelming amount of zombies? Find out now. If you download State of Survival now using our link, you will also enter an Amazon gift code giveaway automatically. Use code Penguinz0 SOS to claim an in-game starter pack, and State of Survival will choose 15 random people to win $50 Amazon gift cards.
So if you're interested, you can download State of Survival now using the link below, and you can use our creator code to just get a nice little in-game starter pack to help you build up your settlements, speed ups, and plenty of resources, as well as a rare hero named Rusty. So if you're interested, feel free. Now, buckle your seatbelts for this one. Really strap in, because this is a wild ride. In 2018, a 71-year-old man's body was found. He was shot in the chest, pronounced dead, and ruled a homicide. But there was no gun to be found, and it was a very mysterious death. With all the surveillance camera footage they had, everything just seemed very fishy. Was the Zodiac killer back? What had happened to this 71-year-old man who had no enemies or anyone that would want him dead? His wallet and everything wasn't taken. It wasn't some kind of robbery. So the question becomes, who killed this man and why? In a case fit for Sherlock Holmes, these detectives had a Herculean task in front of them. Over the next few weeks, they made little progress in cracking this case. There was no signs of a struggle. It clearly wasn't a robbery. They had no really good leading theories on what went on. They could have fucking speculated Slender Man had killed this guy for all they knew. It wasn't until they finally unlocked his phone that they started to notice some very odd things. Firstly, he had purchased a 600-gallon weather balloon and a 40-cubic-foot helium tank. This was very out of character for this particular man, according to his family, and then it was at this point that they started to actually walk the trail they found him on and found a very odd discrepancy in the time between the gunshot and the time it actually takes to walk from the entrance where he was picked up on camera to where he was ultimately shot. It was at this point that a man named Detective Brian hatched this crazy fucking tinfoil condom conspiracy theory where he said it's not a homicide, it was a suicide. Detective Brian speculated that this particular 71-year-old gentleman had purchased a weather balloon, rubber bands, this helium tank, and had tied a gun to a string, shooting himself in the chest with the gun and having the weather balloon carry the gun away, getting rid of the evidence. This man is like the fucking L from Death Note with this kind of theory. But, as it would turn out, after unlocking his phone, going through his search history, the 71-year-old man was Googling how to commit suicide, how much helium is required to carry an item that weighs X amount of pounds away, and all kinds of things that would indicate that he was researching how to shoot himself and then carry the gun away on a weather balloon. The reason for why still remains a mystery to this day. But this case has officially been ruled a suicide, and the most likely place where he learned this method came from an episode in 2003 of CSI Las Vegas where they weather ballooned a gun out of a crime scene. They have no fucking idea why he did this and faked his own murder. Maybe he just wanted to create a little mystery for detectives to solve, just to challenge them or something, to make sure they were fit for their position. No one has any fucking clue there. But I know that everyone says everyone in Florida is really goddamn stupid, just a bunch of fucking idiots living in Florida, but I think this man proves them all wrong. This was nearly the perfect crime, and he would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling wives unlocking his phone, because if they hadn't unlocked his phone and saw a search history, they would still have no idea what happened. I'm definitely putting this at an S-tier Florida man story. This next story is pretty brand new. This happened very recently with a Florida man clinging to the hood of a semi-truck and riding it for 9 miles in what is a high-octane, full-throttle, nuts-to-butts action sequence. So in the video, you can see the man on the hood of the semi-truck. He's banging on the window's cracked, the truck driver's panicking, swerving, braking hard, trying everything he can to get this man off his hood, damn near trying to do like a fucking backflip with his semi-truck to get him off, and it's not working. This man has got the death grip on the hood. This shit looks like a scene out of Fast and Furious or Mission Impossible. Like, who's to say this isn't Tom Cruise doing a stunt on the highway? Now, we don't know what led to this whole ordeal here. Maybe a verbal argument where the truck driver said, hey, kissing your sister is bad, and this guy took offense and hopped on the hood. There's really no telling. Plugging this into the tier list, this is an easy A. Now, there are going to be some people that fight me on this ranking, I understand that, but I'm going to defend it. Even though the camera work here is great, the people that filmed this did a fantastic job. Hats off to them, sloppy kisses on the lips for them, because the filming here is wonderful. The only thing it's lacking is an explanation. I don't know the lore, I don't know why this has happened, and actually I kind of would have liked to see a little more action, like some Michael Bay shit. Maybe there's some trees exploding in the background, maybe an attack helicopter gets involved chasing or something, you know? I just feel like there was room for even more crazy shit to happen. But as it is, it's a fantastic Florida man freakout. Now let's go ahead and tackle what everyone kind of knows Florida for, alligators. For some reason, alligators are so central to the image of Florida that it's one of the first things people picture right next to incest. So we're going to go ahead and go through some alligator stories here, kind of speed run them, because there is a fucking ton of these, so we just chose some of the best ones that we could find. So the first one here is pretty recent. A few years ago, a man was arrested for throwing a live 3-foot alligator through the drive-thru window of a Wendy's. We don't know exactly what motivated him to do this. Perhaps it was for a viral TikTok challenge. There's really no telling, but the man was charged with aggravated assault. I don't know if the alligator was charged, but I do hope the alligator finds some better friends. Now, this is definitely a C-tier story. Perhaps there's more to this, like maybe it's some Guardians of the Galaxy shit where maybe this alligator is this guy's sidekick, you know? Maybe they're like a tag team of crime or something. But it's not the greatest Florida man story out there, and it would have been even cooler if he was like akimboing alligators, like dual-wielding them, and then tossed them both in or something. That would have at least brought it up to a B. But this shit is a terrible fucking prank if that's what it was. This next story comes from Jacksonville, where a Facebook prankster goes into a convenience store with a live alligator and chases a man around pretending that he's mad about the last bit of beer. He was clearly doing this as a joke and then grabs his little Miller Lite to butt chug in the bathtub later and throw up. This is absolutely an F-tier Florida man story. This shit fucking sucks. Facebook pranksters suck. This whole thing is garbage. Chasing people with an alligator in a store. It's some cruel garbage. Absolute fucking trash. Now this next one's actually a heartwarming story. Most Florida men just kick and beat up alligators or rape them. Just some fucking terrible shit that these Florida inbreds do to alligators. But this guy is actually very sweet. He treats them like little family pets by reading them stories and singing to them, and recently he's been doing it during the pandemic to keep them calm and relaxed. He was worried the alligators were stressing, so he began reading some like Dr. Seuss books to them and singing some songs like Wonderwall and shit in their exhibit, and it's actually just adorable. This is a heartwarming tale involving Florida men and alligators, so this one's definitely going up there at a nice, cool B-tier Florida man story. Now this next story sounds like something out of Leonardo DiCaprio's Catch Me If You Can. So a man in Daytona was being charged with threats against Chevrolet. He was demanding $50,000 in a 2019 Chevy Malibu, which looks like dog shit, by the way. No offense to Malibu drivers out there, but if you're gonna risk your fucking life for the sake of a car, you might as well choose a good car, like a Cybertruck or 2 school buses stacked on top of each other, or something fucking badass like a Mad Max mobile. But anyway, he wanted the Malibu, he wanted $50,000, and he was threatening to release customers' social security numbers that he had found. And in response, obviously Chevrolet filed charges against this man, and this guy hatched the genius idea of impersonating the prosecutors and having the charges dropped against himself. So his plan was pretty simple. He used the Florida bar numbers and the names of a couple prosecutors and filed a no information filing against himself, meaning there were no charges against him. Unfortunately, this man, being the fucking Neanderthal that he is, filed the wrong papers, and that triggered a lot of alarms, and they were able to deduce that this was not the actual prosecutors, this was the man in question pretending to be them, which in and of itself carries multiple other felonies. So by impersonating these people, he got himself an additional 3 or 4 felonies, I think it was, and could face multiple decades in prison for it, and he is currently being held without bail. This right here is an A-tier Florida man scheme. This is absolutely fantastic. The only reason it's not an S-tier scheme is because I would have liked a little bit more ingenuity when it comes to impersonating. I mentioned Catch Me If You Can earlier. I think it was a lot more creative what he was able to do. This, he just looked up Florida bar numbers and some names and then pretended to file the documents. He grabbed some other papers as well and just kind of altered them a little bit. So he filed a lot of fraudulent shit, but nothing about it really screamed creative genius, you know what I mean? It could have been a lot more in-depth, but even as it stands, it's great. He got himself an additional couple decades in prison as a result of him trying to be some kind of super clever supervillain, so it's a very good story, definitely worthy of A tier at least. In Newport Richey, a man was arrested for trying to steal a truck with a teen in the back seat of the truck. So of the 5 people that live in Newport Richey, unfortunately one of them turned out to be a criminal. And the story doesn't stop there. After this man was arrested, he was released from jail 3 days later, and was again arrested in the parking lot for trying to steal a car that had an off-duty officer inside of it. He left the prison, and he walked over to a car with an officer inside of it, yanked on the handle and tried to steal it, and was again arrested. So this was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy here. He kind of took care of himself. I think he just enjoyed being in jail and was trying to speedrun going back. So this right here, I'm giving this a C tier ranking, and I look forward to revisiting this story in a year or so when he's arrested again for trying to steal an ice cream truck or something. These are all the Florida man stories that we wanted to cover this time around. Obviously there's hundreds of thousands to choose from, but these were the ones that we remembered and definitely thought were worth ranking on a tier list, at least to start. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah. We hear about the Florida woman who got her entire driveway stolen. How does that work? Single mother's future in jeopardy after thief steals driveway. How? No way. Now playing above, it's this right here. This is where they put the news segment in the tiniest box on the screen.
And now our Nick Papantonis is looking into the situation.
Well, I'm going to speculate on how they might have done this crime. So they obviously needed some kind of heavy industrial machinery, right? And seeing the recent rise in forklift-related crimes, my guess is somehow they used a forklift, got the tongs under the driveway, and peeled up each individual piece of pavement. And then just stacked it and drove it away. That's my guess. I think a forklift was the culprit. Well, not like a sentient forklift, but like that was the tool used by the culprit.
Ready for Christmas. Of all the things that you worried about getting stolen, did you think the driveway was one of them?
No, not
What
at
kind of fucking question is that? Hey, out of all the possible things that could have been stolen from your house, did you ever think it'd be your driveway? Like, fucking obviously not. That's not a thought any sane person would ever have. Like, you can't exactly padlock your driveway. No one's gonna ever consider that the Grinch might come through and just take the whole pavement up. Why even ask that question? It's super stupid.
One told Brochu a Tampa area man identified
Oh,
as
Tampa.
Andre asked
Let's
them
go.
to price out a replacement.
Again.
1 week later, this
Oh, let's
footage
go.
from Brochu's doorbell camera captured a bulldozer tearing out the concrete and hauling it away.
Jesus
Utter
Christ.
shock. I've never seen this before.
Oh for 1 on guesses, it was a bulldozer, not a forklift.
And believes Brochu is the victim of a scam. But neither woman knows what
Such a
scam
weird,
is.
yeah, it's a weird
multiple People
scam.
come forward saying that they've seen things like this happen, whether it be driveways, roofs, painting, even outside the exterior. So it's happens more often than we actually see it.
Deputies have launched.
I just don't believe that. Why would this happen often? What do they get out of it? I mean, I guess the cat's probably happy about it. They like dirt. But what is the scam? So you have their driveway now. Then what? How do you get money out of it? Do you hold it for ransom? Because even they're saying they don't exactly know what the goal is with it. Can't have shit in Florida, they stole the damn driveway. True. So the house value goes down. I guess, but are they making an offer on the property? Because if not, you get nothing out of it other than just fucking with them. So I guess it could just be evil for the sake of being evil. What a crazy heist.
Tonight. What a bizarre story.
Couldn't agree more there. What a bizarre story indeed. Stealing a whole fucking driveway for no reason. This is some shit out of Ed, Edd n Eddy. Like actually cartoon logic. Like, stealing a driveway is actually something out of Cartoon Network. The only thing that makes sense is what the chatter said, driving the property value down to make an offer on the house. But it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing, so it really feels completely worthless, and they just stole a driveway just because they had the equipment to do so. There's a guy in Detroit who had his whole porch stolen. Recently? Detroit man says his porch was stolen. This was in 2018. Oh my god. This was in 2018. What the fuck? That is interesting. Oh, wait, it's not real. The first update here. I did it all out of laughs to entertain social media. So this one's fake, but the stealing driveway one's not. Did you see that the Pistons finally won a game? Did I see that the Pistons finally won a game? You bet your sweet bippy I did. I'm a little upset because I predicted they would beat the Celtics, and they almost did. The best meme I saw about it is the Pistons miraculously overcame a 21-point lead in order to lose in the end to the Celtics. And I predicted they would beat them. And they lost. So then I was totally resigned to just let the Pistons lose 60 straight. And then they come back today and they fucking win. It actually made me mad because I could have looked like a prophet. I actually would have looked like a legitimate, like what are they called? Soothsayer? To get that prediction right would have been big for me. But I got it wrong. They won today though. So they snapped the 28-game losing streak. I was reading some of the memes here. I didn't watch the game, I just saw that they posted this. And usually when they post final, it means the Pistons lost in another triumphant fashion. But they actually won, and I was looking at some of the memes. So, Winghouse said every time the Pistons win a game, that's 5 free wings. And that's been a big joke because the Pistons lost for 3 months now, or 2 months, whatever. So it's just been this meme about how everyone's starving, like, oh, no wings, Wingstop got the easiest advertisement ever because they don't have to give away wings because the Pistons can't win. So now I've just been going through the memes here.
Sure hungry. Rev up those fryers, because I am sure hungry.
It's been pretty fire, actually. All they need to do is win 50 games in a row to make the playoffs. That's what I'm predicting. I think now's the time. They got 28 games worth of losses, and as the old adage goes, you learn more from failure than you do success. So they've got tons of invaluable knowledge now. I think they win 50 straight. What does your new tattoo mean? Absolutely nothing. I just really like the design. This time around, I told myself this next tattoo I was getting was going to have meaning. So I once again got a meaningless tattoo. But, dagnabbit, I think it looks nice. It's not done yet. I still have to go back, but that's basically the bones of it. It's a balloons map. Yeah, kinda. Once it's finished, it'll be less balloons-esque, but I really like it. I really like how it's coming out. You did this, they could have gotten rid of the 76ers all-time loss record, now they tied it, fuck you. Hey man, I got it wrong. I said they were winning last game. So it's not my fault. Surprisingly, this isn't new. Look up entire driveway stolen in Central Florida. Happened in 2012. This isn't the first driveway being stolen? Yeah, well, you're right. This also happened in Florida, too. Man, Florida thieves love driveways. A woman in Reddick, Florida didn't even have to open her front door to realize she had been robbed. That's because thieves stole her driveway. Well, the brick pavers that made up the driveway. Is there footage of it? No. The victim arrived home around 6 p.m. on Tuesday and felt a large bump as she attempted to turn into where her driveway had once been. She got out and realized it was gone. Apparently neighbors didn't think anything of it because construction workers had recently built a barn elsewhere on her property, so no one stopped the thieves as they took the bricks. Thoughts on Mickey Mouse becoming public domain? Oh, yeah. That happens on January 1st. Mickey Mouse is hitting the public domain. Well, Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. Which is fine. We're going to use him in the MWL, mark my words. We'll have him fight against other public domain property like Winnie the Pooh. Right around the same time as Epstein's List. I wonder what Steamboat Willie was up to. Oh, interesting correlation. So So I can promote my own movies with a whistling mouse. I guess. You can use Winnie the Pooh right now if you want. There's a lot of public domain property that you probably don't realize is public domain. Though I think most people know Winnie the Pooh is because of the god-awful horror movie. Did you hear about that devil comet that's going to explode in the next few days before it reaches Earth? We've got to stop naming like comets and asteroids like this. God of Chaos, now the devil comet. Devil comet bigger than Mount Everest racing towards Earth and is set to explode soon. These headlines, brother, please. This isn't Mass Effect. This isn't like the Reapers are coming, please. The Devil Comet, officially known as 12P, what a name, Near Automata shit, is currently making its way towards Earth and is anticipated to undergo a significant eruption soon. This comet, which is nearly 3 times the size of Mount Everest, is classified as a cryovolcano, which means it erupts due to the buildup and ignition of gas and ice, much like a frozen soda can. That is so badass. The comet is notably large with a diameter of 18.6 miles. That is wild. It's a very short period comet, completing an orbit around the sun approximately every 71 years. A pattern to the well-known Halley's Comet. Comets like this with an orbital period of less than 200 years are categorized as short period. Comet 12P Pons-Brooks is not a recent discovery. Its existence has been acknowledged since 1812, when it was first observed by comet hunter Jean-Louis Pons, who noted it at a 4th magnitude brightness. However, initial observations were not detailed enough to accurately forecast its future appearances.